Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and we're a little bit later today because Play Hearthstone just tweeted out the latest balance patch teaser for both Standard and Battlegrounds. Battlegrounds getting a bunch of changes, but we're not going to go over that. Standard, where we've been wanting some major changes, at least some of us have. We're not getting that. We're not getting that at all. We are getting 2 nerfs, apparently, just 2. Nothing for wild and 0 buffs. That is it for a meta game that has been pretty stale, pretty contentious. We'll go over what the cards are, what they really mean for the the format and all of that. I think they're good nerfs. It's fine. But yeah, I have a feel like a lot of people aren't going to be thrilled with the lack of changes. So we'll talk about that. And as always, you enjoy the content on the channel, feel like I've earned your subscription, please hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like, as it helps the channel a lot. And plus you'll want to see what those patch notes are tomorrow with the finalized changes. And I imagine dev comments about this patch. These are the 2 cards being nerfed here, the images. And if you're not familiar what those are, let's go over it. First, the warrior card reserve spot is not likely. It is getting nerfed. It's highlighted in that teaser image there. And currently it is propping up one of the best decks in Standard, one of which I feel like has no merit, almost as a redeemable Hearthstone deck. Handbuff Hunter is so just gross. It's so unfun, where it's, do you draw a reserve spot? Do you draw it with a minion? Oh, I guess I won, right? I get either Giant Mythical Rune Bear or the Bellowing, what is it, Bellhop? Whatever, the Bellhop card. Like, that's it. That's the deck. If you watched the summer playoffs yesterday, which we'll talk about at the end of the video, by the way, I want to shout out who advanced. Regardless of that, it's just, there's no gameplay. There's nothing interesting about it. And this is the main enabler of what it, the scams it creates. So they're not nerfing around it. For the most part, they are going to be hitting this card. What do they do? Well, we've seen a lot of nudging lately. So I could see it going to 4 mana. You could take +3/+3. You could, as the buff, rather than +4/+4, you could reduce the mana sheet. We saw that on Hot Spring Glider for Paladin already, with went from your next Murloc is 2 less to 1 less. So there's options. We'll see what they do. I outright would love to see Handbuff Hunter just get gutted. I just don't think it's a good deck for the game. I haven't seen anyone praise it in any way. When I call for it to get nerfed or gutted, no one seems to really mind. Like, it's just such an unfun archetype. And yeah, this doesn't really see much play in Warrior. It's mostly just a Hunter card, and I'm glad it's getting hit. I'll just be curious to see how much it gets hit, and hopefully it's enough that deck does not continue to be super competitive and popular, because it's just, again, the play pattern of it to me is just ridiculous. And yes, Amirdrassil no longer dodging the nerfs. This card has like a 67% mulligan win rate, but depending on the day you look at it on HS Replay Stats, I'll show the mulligan win rates. It might be number 1 when I show it, sometimes it's not, but it's like the biggest outlier in Standard in terms of if you draw it, you basically win the game. It is so powerful. I like the card. I play a lot of Druid. I know I'm a D-Shed and all that. Over 10,000 Druid wins. It feels like a really cool Druid card, but it's too good, right? And especially with spell damage Druid, if you're notching something back like Handbuff Hunter, which can prey on a deck like spell damage Druid, which can't answer those boards at all, you probably want to hit that. It really hurts for like Imbue Druid. It hurts for like the Aviana Druids. It hurts a lot of decks that aren't doing great. So I think that's why they've been hesitant to nerf it. But the fact that Druid isn't amazing outside of spell damage is probably not a good reason to leave a card that's a clear outlier as an outlier. But I imagine a lot of people will not be happy about this change, because again, Druid only thriving at super high ranks with spell damage Druid, which is so strong and can OTK use. Particular, there was a player yesterday at the playoffs who played this on turn 1. They won, of course, but yeah, that won't be possible, I guess, if it gets nerfed to 5, which is probably what would happen. There are other options. You could just take one of the things away. You could take the armor, the mana crystal, a draw, a summon, like one of those away. You could take a durability away, but that, I think that's outright completely murdering the card, because it escalates, right? It gets better every use. I imagine it goes to 5. I don't see much else you do other than, yeah, maybe take the armor away so it's a bit more, you're a bit more fragile while it's going on. Yeah, that's it. That is literally the only changes we are apparently getting. And what, you know, obviously the hot topic of the whole expansion, if we take a look, we'll go to bronze through gold because that's the only place where people play the bad quests anymore, are all these quest decks, right? Quest Demon Hunter, Quest Rogue, Quest Priest, Quest Hunter, all right, you know, 40% win rate or lower decks. There are some that are playable, right? Like, it's not like this expansion is a complete dud or anything, especially with the latest round of buffs. Quest Warriors up there. Quest Warlock was one of the most brought decks to playoffs and did really well. I wonder if its play rate will go up after people see how well it performed. But you know, they're competitive, but they're not like dominant, and it's just a different kind of style this expansion we've seen, where they're not trying to push power level as much. They're letting some decks thrive, but overall they're gonna have a lot of older stuff succeed. And if you remember back to the old days of like the original Ungoro, you know, that's how things went. Again, I mentioned the original Ungoro, only Quest Rogue was busted at release. The Warrior Quest was pretty good. Mage saw Fringe play, and I believe Priest saw Fringe play. And that was about it, right? Like, those quests weren't insane. And it used to be in the old days, when a new expansion came out, they didn't just delete the prior meta. It just kind of, you know, entered it, and there was a couple new stuff. There was some, we've just got to a point where, yeah, when they release a new set in the last few years, they always up it so much that it basically makes the last one irrelevant, and then you get the calls for power creep is out of control. So this is the flip side of it, and it makes things a lot less exciting, I will say. And I will say that people are, you know, kind of frustrated that, you know, the game, the expansion still costs a lot of money, and they're getting less value out of it. That's why I talked about yesterday the importance, like, of a duels or a twist to get more value out of your cards that isn't there. So we'll see. I know we're getting some dev comments in the patch notes tomorrow that will talk more about this, but yeah, going into the next mini set, and it could just be that they're preparing for a broken mini set. We've seen that a lot. Do I need to remind you of like Zero Mana Yogg or cards like that, right? How many diamond legendaries have had to be nerfed really quick from mini sets? So there could be like a legendary that, like, if you complete your quest, just win the game type of deal. I could see that. You never know. So maybe they're really scared to buff any of the stuff because they know something really nuts is coming with the mini set. So anyways, patch notes will drop tomorrow, going over what the changes are, dev comments. And I did want to shout out, there were the summer championship playoffs to qualify for Masters Tour summer championships, where then you could qualify for Worlds. We don't know the date of that. We're kind of, I guess it's already late August, probably in September, you know, September summer championships. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, shout out to Kevin Schmidt. They qualified yesterday. Poor, by the way, I have to say, poor World 8 got the worst Doomsayer roll off Maze Guide ever. Literally cost him the series. That is brutal. McBanterface, pretty well known guy. He's done pretty well. He qualified as well. We have Norwis just falling short to Nightmare 14. Qualified, as well as Phil had an all starship lineup, got there, and then Photon, who's always up there in the ranks, and I believe I get wrecked by him on Arena too. Really good player, as well as the last player, Tobika, was qualifying. So they get to go to the Masters Tour Summer Championships, where they can win maybe some money and also have a chance to qualify for Worlds. I'll be co-casting that, and I'm sure there'll be drops. I actually did shout out the playoffs yesterday, mainly because there weren't drops. Because I'm like, how many people are going to want to tune in and care about? I did co-stream it, and I will co-stream Summer Championships as well. So that's cool that the esports stuff still getting love, and they normally don't broadcast the playoffs. So that was a nice little bonus. They are trying to expand things, right? They're really putting in that effort. Anyways, let me know what you think about this patch and all that. Yeah, stay tuned. We'll go over the patch notes, all that stuff. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.